Medical disclaimer. The information provided in this episode of Grown Ass Women Talking is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment. Enjoy the episode.
I mean, clearly, this is the first time that Erica and I have even heard about, what is it,
vaginismus. It sounds like a holiday, doesn't it? It's like Merry Vaginismus.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun holiday.
Yeah. You only come once a year.
Yeah, there you go.
Literally. Hey, I'm Loni Love, comedian, actress, and Emmy Award-winning talk show host.
And I'm Erica Montolfo, writer, showrunner, and most importantly, Loni's super fun sidekick.
That's right. And thank you all for joining us today for another episode of Grown Ass Women Talking. For our grown ass topic today, we'll be talking about one of our most requested topics. You know what it is, Erica?
I am afraid. The big M.
It's menopause.
The M word.
Yep. Menopause, advocating for your body, and we're excited to be talking about it with the hilarious Mo Collins. You don't want to miss Mo. But before we dive in, we want to give a shout out to all of our listeners who have been sending us emails and recordings. We love hearing from you. And if you want to share your thoughts on the show or tell us what's on your mind, send us a voice note at gawtpod@gmail.com or record a voice message on our website, gawtpod.com. And if you're listening to us on your phone, follow us on Instagram. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. Please, please, please.
And finally, guys, we have a special request for all our listeners. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I mean, we are like right there. So help us out by subscribing to our channel and sharing our video with your friends.
We are not right there.
We are!
I'm the realist. You're the dreamer.
Exactly.
With that done, let's catch up with Erica. Erica, what's on your mind?
Okay. I know everybody's waiting for the update that Loni invited me somewhere, and I went to the WIN Awards as her guest. I actually got in. It was lovely. And you looked gorgeous, first of all.
You did too, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Meow, meow, meow. We looked cute together. Siege put the picture up.
And more importantly, what happened? What happened?
My girl won the award for Best Actress. Tell them about it, Lon.
I was so excited. I won Best Actress for a Television Movie Limited Series. It was for my movie Binge to Death.
And she beat out some heavy hitters. There were some, like Brie Larson. There were some heavy hitters in your category. Yeah. And look who walked away with the hardware.
Well, I talked to the judges. The judges said that my performance was, because it's a parody, was one of the standout performances, and I was really committed to it. So you can catch Binge to Death on Apple TV, but it was really a great movie, and I got to thank Will Packer and all of them. So thank you, and thank you for coming. Seriously, it was nice.
I really had a lovely time, and we got to see Melissa Etheridge. She was there,
she got the Living Legend award.
It was a full-on night.
It was a fun night. I was so happy, and I got to see the haircut up front, so that was really great. So,
right?
So you did good. Thank you, my friend.
And so did you, my friend. Much kudos to you. Love, love, love.
Anything else going on with you?
Oh my God. Listen, I'm going to New York this week on Friday, and I'm very excited because my other bestie, I mean, obviously you're my bestie. And by the way, I made a friendship bracelet for you, which is in the mail.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, given our new status, because you've embraced the fact that I'm your friend. So I'm Taylor Swifting you for the rest of the time. So be on the lookout. But I'm going
One invite and I get a bracelet. Wow.
You love me. You love me. Come on, admit it. You want to be with me all the time. So I'm going to New York, and I'm excited because my other bestie and my godkids live there. But I'm excited because every time I go to New York, boys happen there. Like, it's a boy place. You know what I'm saying? Like, in LA, I can walk around, like, boys don't even check for me. But in New York, like, every time I go there, I'll either get a date, maybe a little hookup action. Like, at the gym, someone will be like, oh, you're in this hotel? Yeah, I'm in this hotel. What are you doing later? Okay, I'll meet you later. And then a hookup. Or someone like, last time I was there, it was very lovely. My girlfriend and I were like just having lunch. We'd gone to a play, we're having lunch, and the waiter's like, "Oh, the gentleman just paid for your lunch." I was like, oh. Look over, super hot, like black guy, which is like rare for me. Just saying, like that's usually not that they're not my type. I'm usually not their type because I have to zero ass. But anyway, so of course I go over and I'm like talking to him, and turns out he works for BET, and of course I used to have a show there, and so we had a lot in common. And just lovely for him to pick up the check, and so I said, I tried to shoot my shot. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be here till like Sunday, so you want to like grab a drink sometime? He's like, oh, I gotta go like out of town with my goddaughter, but I just thought you looked lovely, so I just but I mean, it was kind of a backhanded thing of like was not checking for me romantically, but it was still nice that he paid for our lunch, so he's recognizing game, I guess, but I'm not interested in you that way, but still.
I cannot wait to hear about your weekend next week.
Yes, I'll keep you posted. I will be in the New York streets trolling to see like what boys will do.
Somebody's out there for you,
Mo's gonna talk about menopause. I'm just like, bring it on. I'm ready for it. It's all good. This is closing up down there.
Have you tried online dating though?
Oh, stop it. First of all, I missed all the app things. I was married like during the app time, so I kind of just got back into it. That's a whole nother show, Loni.
Okay. Anyway, this is the last episode before Halloween. So one of the online questions have been, what's the best a celebrity has looked in a Halloween costume? I'm going to say Lizzo. Lizzo has dressed up. She does different costumes, but the one costume that I like that she's been doing is she's dressed up as South Park did this mockery of her when this is like a couple years ago, and they called her, like, instead of Ozempic, Lizzo. So she dressed up as that South Park character, and she looks so cute. She's been getting in shape, losing weight. And she had her hair done, and she made the costume. It's like this cardboard with it, and it was just perfect. It's a perfect way to, kind of give it to the South Park people and have a great Halloween costume.
I love that. You gotta own your shit for Halloween. Like last Halloween, I got through my gallbladder situation. I had like to lose my gallbladder, so I literally weighed like 2 pounds. So I went as a skeleton. So you have to own your body. You have to own your body type. So I was like, yes, I look horrible. And I got a skeleton jumpsuit, and that's what I did.
Any other celebrity?
I love Heidi Klum. Like, Heidi Klum does her crazy. Like, she's so extra for Halloween. Like, I like when she did, like, the old lady, like, and then she had, like, hanging boobies. Like, that was my favorite. Like, she does not try to look cute, which I'm sick of people trying to look cute for Halloween. Like, the dirty, like, doctor and the dirty policeman. Like, I love that Heidi goes all out.
She dressed up as a worm one time.
I love that.
That was my favorite one. Yeah, her.
She commits.
Look, you guys, if you have a Halloween costume that you just want to show off, DM it to us at GAWT Pod on Instagram, and maybe we'll put it up, okay? Because we want to show off. All right. So let's do that. We're all in this together. Mm-hmm. We got a great episode for you all today. We're going to get into all sorts of stuff. We'll be talking about Hallmark Channel has an old problem. Sharon, her boyfriend, go to the circus with me, and Erica missed it.
I know.
Celine Dion surprises Adele. And in today's grown-ass topic, we're going to be joined by our friend Mo Collins as we talk about menopause, advocating for your body. We'll get into all of that and more. This is going to be a great episode. This is Grown-Ass Women Talking. Are you a grown-ass woman with something to say? What are you unapologetic about? What's got you fired up?
Are you thrilled the kids are back in school? Or are you mad at your friends for asking you out after 9 p.m.? Did you get stood up on your third Tinder date this week? Whatever it is, let it all out.
Visit our website at GAWTpod.com and leave us a voice message. That's GAWTpod.com, or drop us a voice note at GAWTpod@gmail.com. We might just play your message on our next episode.
So don't hold back. This is your space to talk about it.
We're back with more GAWT. Now it's time for grown-ass women news. Each week, I'll get Erica's take on the week's entertainment news, current events, and news about grown-ass women. And this is, you know what it is, an election update.
Do we have music?
Actually, no, but we've got a lot to get through. Okay, Harris has been campaigning across Michigan and Philadelphia. John Legend and Bruce Springsteen performed at a rally featuring Obama. Michelle Obama was also on the campaign trail. She gave an awesome speech about the reason why we should elect Harris. And the Harris campaign aides argue that the race is shifting in her favor and that her warnings about Trump and abortion are breaking through. Michael Bloomberg, who has given less to Democrats this year in 2018 and 2020, donated $50 million to support Harris, as well as Bill Gates has given $50 million. You know, she's moving along. She did Club Shay Shay, which, you know.
I haven't seen that one yet. When is that coming on? Because I got to see that.
It's out. You can see it. So she's trying to appeal to everyone. This is the little roundup of what I've been reading online about Trump versus Kamala. The Trump campaign denounced a comedian's offensive jokes about Puerto Rico and minorities in a rally in Madison Square Garden. Republican lawmakers also distanced themselves from the remarks.
I saw the comedian, and to me, obviously horribly racist, but the number one rule of comedy, as you know, Lonnie Love, is be funny.
Yes.
I mean, if it was funny, I'd be like, okay, that's what, you know, it was clever. No, this was not even funny. The whole crowd was just like, you're not funny. And he had to kind of try to walk it back himself in the moment.
Well, I don't even know why they needed to have a comedian like that to come on and warm up the crowd. This was a huge rally. Some people, you know, have different viewpoints about it. But, you know, the thing is that the guy, he insulted Puerto Rico, he insulted Black people, he insulted Jews. Absolutely. And he insulted Puerto Ricans so much that the three Puerto Ricans united like the
triumvirate of
J-Lo, Bad Bunny, and Ricky Martin.
You don't come for them. They come together. Like, so the Wonder Twins or whatever activate. Don't come for them.
They were like, nope, we're done.
And they have over like millions and millions of followers on social media.
They posted a Kamala ad, all three of them at the same time. So it was like, no, we're coming together. And so J-Lo had already expressed her support for Kamala back in September. And so had Ricky Martin. This was the first time that Bad Bunny actually gave his support. And this is what happens when we get to the end, you have to make sure that you're hitting all demographics. And what that comedian did was open the way for people to actually start saying, hey, this isn't cool. And that was not cool. But you know what is cool? Beyoncé and Kelly were in Houston for Kamala. That was a really great rally. And first, Miss Tina came out and she gave her spiel, and then Kelly and Beyoncé came out walking hand in hand.
Cute.
And this was like the first time that I think both of them have been at a rally for Kamala. And Kelly's speech was awesome.
Oh, so good. She killed it.
And then Beyoncé, of course, looking fabulous. She gave her shout out to Houston and also why it was important. And I think the most important thing that I heard from her, she says, I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a singer. I'm here as a mother. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was just great. It was right on point.
Absolutely. I think they both made really good points. But can I tell you what I took away from that?
What?
I love that they had their own version of the pantsuits on. I love Kelly's pantsuit. I thought was great. I thought that was homage to the BP, right? And it was like a very menswear tie.
It was an oversized pantsuit,
which is on trend right now. I thought she looked beautiful. I think they're obviously. Why are you laughing? I thought I made a whole point. I was trying to make a whole point.
Your boy Trump got a little, I guess, jealous, and he said, yeah, Kamala, the next day at his rallies, he said Kamala's having a dance party with Beyonce.
And you weren't invited, and you were not invited.
Well, that started a whole Beyonce trend on TikTok. It was remixed and put to a beat.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce. 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 Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce.
And a lot of people just enjoyed enjoyed that whole thing.
Not I posted with Trump it. Doing the dance, not this
oh
way.
My, it's just too much. I think a lot of people kind of, because there are some people who's like, well, we shouldn't be joking at this time. We don't take anything serious as Black folks.
I'd be ready to jump off a cliff if it wasn't for this laughter,
Definitely. Well, quickly, here is some good news. 1960s civil rights protesters who staged historic sit-ins finally have arrest records cleared. Yes, since 1960s, they've had arrest records. So, and some of them have died. They didn't live long enough to get their arrest records cleared. So they've done it anyway. 2 men that are still living. This was some protest that happened in Colombia. Their name is Bowie and Charles Barr. They were able to get their arrest records cleared. And this is something that's happening for all of people back in the 60s that had these sit-ins, that were getting arrest records and arrested. They're getting their records cleared, and it took only 53 years to do it. So I think it's about time. I think that is good. People don't understand when you have an arrest, there are certain things that you can't get. You can't get a security clearance. There are certain jobs that you can't get. So that's why it's important. And, you just don't want to die, knowing that you did something that was right, but it's still on your record, because you don't know how in the future how they're going to take it. So I'm glad that they were able to get it expunged and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, vindication is a huge thing.
2 other people that may look like they're going to get out of jail are the Menendez brothers. Hey, how about that?
I mean, listen, I grew up in LA at a time when this was going on. I was like, probably in high school or whatever, and I grew up right near them. I grew up in West LA, and it was all anybody was talking about. And those are the kind of guys I went to school with and grew up with, like little rich guys who, at the time, we all thought, oh my God, like they just wanted to get money from their parents, so they killed them. So I would never have believed that the tide would have turned where we're looking at it from their perspective, because all this stuff about them being abused, that wasn't something that was really known about or even kind of made public at the time. And to see this whole shift to them being victims, I mean, is good and also bad. I mean, depending on which way you think about it. But, to your point about being vindicated, if this is true that they were abused, then I think they have served their time.
It was the fact that they had one trial and it was declared a mistrial. Then in the second trial, they were not allowed to talk about any of the abuse.
Exactly.
And so that is where you get into the murky waters of were they given a fair trial. So that's what's happening right there.
Well, there's also a cultural component. I mean, listen, I've been obsessed with that. I've watched all the documentaries. I watched the show, the Ryan Murphy show. And one of the things I think it's a cultural thing, and it's also, I think, where we're moving culture as a culture ourselves into a world where we understand that men can be abused too. And I think that's why, a jury today would be much more compassionate about that versus how they would be back in the 80s.
Definitely. Well, we'll see what happens with that. And moving on, Hallmark is being sued for ageism. Hallmark Executive VP of Programming, Lisa Hamilton Daly, told her staff she did not want to cast old people. This is allegedly saying that they did not fit with her image for the channel. A new age discrimination lawsuit filed against the studio claims. In the suit, Hamilton Daly is quoted as singling out Holly Robinson Peete and Lacey Chabert, who are both 60 and 42 respectively, as examples of old talent that needed to be replaced. And both actors have starred in Christmas movies and shows on the Hallmark Channel. Basically, quote, Lacey's getting older and we have to find someone like her to replace her as she gets older, Hamilton Daily allegedly said. Of Robinson Pete, she said, no one wants her because she's too old and getting too expensive. She can't play leading roles anymore, the suit alleges.
Listen.
First of all, can we put up a picture
Yes.
of Holly Robinson Pete? If you've seen her lately, she does not look 60 at all. And, you know, this is just another testament. This is a woman executive doing this to another woman.
That's horrible.
See, when I tell y'all that all women don't support other women, no. This is another example. This is another example of it.
This is a cutthroat business, unfortunately. And you don't think that that woman is trying to keep her job because she works for a man and she's trying to dictate to what she knows that man wants?
This lawsuit is being brought about by the industry veteran. Her name is Perry. She was a casting director, and she said she received strong annual performance evaluations, but she's 72 years old and she's been let go. So she's the one that's bringing the suit. She's the one that's giving the tea about what has been said about Holly Robinson Pete. And it's funny because Holly went on the Jennifer Hudson show, and she, you know how Jennifer Hudson, they have this thing where they walk and they tape and they're walking to the stage. Mm-hmm. And Holly posted that, and she put, yeah, not bad for an old actress. So, you know, she's definitely throwing shade. I posted about this, and ooh, the ladies were mad in the comments. They were like, woo. They were like, no. They were like, we like them. They better not go, or we gonna go from Hallmark and go over there to Lifetime. I'm like, ooh, okay.
Well, first, also 42. Like, she's 42. When did that become old? Like, Lacey Spears 42. I mean,
you know in Hollywood how they are. Ugh. Moving on, somebody who's in her 40s and decided to step out, Gisele Bündchen. She's 44 years old and she is pregnant and expecting her first child with her boyfriend Joachim. And sources close to the model confirmed to TMZ that she's about 5 or 6 months along in her pregnancy. They said they waiting on the birth to find out if they have a boy or a girl, allegedly. You know, TMZ found out all of it. Oh, yeah. She already has 2 kids with the ex-hubby, Tom Brady. And we are told that Gisele told Tom and the kids about her baby before the news got out. I thought that was nice.
Well, that's good.
Gisele and Tom divorced back in October 2022. And I think she was just fed up with Tom and this damn football.
Before we get into this, check your bushes for TMZ because they be in your bushes.
Like, they sure do.
They be in your bushes, in your business. But to your point, we talked about this last week about football widows, right? Like, you know, now that football's on every night, like you can't find your husband. And that's even not professional football players. That's just your basic husband on the couch on Sunday where you can't even talk to him. So Tom Brady, you know, that's his life. It was. And she was fed up with it, to your point. So he gives her free time, and she's going to train the kids to do karate. And she's like, okay, well, maybe I'll do karate with the kids too. And now look who her baby daddy is, karate guy.
Basically, Tom Brady retired. Then he unretired for another season. He was addicted to football. They say he literally chose football over his family.
Even if you're Tom Brady, you can't leave your woman alone and disgruntled and let her take karate with some hot guy.
It's funny because Tom, after the news came out, he posted on his Instagram stories like this thing from the landslide. That. And it was like, the landslide brought me down. Oh, I'm like, okay, here we go, Tom.
All right,
I'm sure you can find someone to help you.
Yeah, he's Stevie Nicks all of a sudden. Give me a break. He's not a 70-year-old woman. He'll be fine.
Moving on. Sharing her boyfriend, Alex.
Before you get into this, can I just do the backstory? About how about how I missed out on meeting Cher.
To be all honest and fair, I did not know this was going to be like this. I got an invite to Cirque du Soleil, and I was like, "Oh, they gave me another ticket." So I was like, "Erica, you want to come?" She's like, "No, I got dinner with my friend." I said, "Okay." So
no, I didn't say I didn't want to go. I said I would love to come, but unfortunately, I already have plans. That's a different way of saying it.
Anyway, you put me down, and I was like, all right, and I just went, and who was there? A whole bunch of celebrities. I did not know that there were going to be so many people, but the most interesting was Cher and her boyfriend, Alex Edie Edwards, and he brought his son Slash to the premiere. It was called Kazoo. Cher is 78 years old and her boyfriend is 38 years old, and they bought the 5-year-old, and I got a picture with all of them.
Of course you did. Put it up, Steve.
So cute. I was just excited when I saw Cher because I grew up with Cher.
Of course.
I mean, in the 70s, just her beauty.
And we had just talked about her last week too, about her getting into the Hall of Fame. Like, she's a beast. She's the best. She's like the GAWT.
She was so sweet. I walked up to her, not, but he was like listening. And, I do think that he knew who I was. So right. I'm like, okay. And I said, hey, can we take a quick picture? And because we were all up there with the other artists, they let us go up with the performers on stage. So it was really a nice thing. And if you are in the Santa Monica area, Kazoo is a wonderful, wonderful show to go see.
Well, I'm salty about it, but it's okay. I'm happy for you.
You can't be salty because that was on you. That wasn't on me. So it's like, I invited you.
I'm happy for you.
Anyway, moving on. Adele at her show, she's been doing these weekends in Vegas, and who surprised her? None other than Celine Dion. Celine Dion surprised her. She has this residency at Caesars, which was where Celine did all of her famous residencies. And I think Celine kind of kicked it off and made it cool for other artists now to get a residency. Because, it used to be, if you do Vegas, it's like, that's the last thing ever.
Well, your girl Cher even said that on the Hall of Fame. She was like, when I was doing Vegas, it was like the death row, basically, of your career.
Definitely. But now it's,
now everybody does it for sure.
But in this, evidently Adele didn't know that Celine was going to be there. And the thing about when you go to Adele's concert, she could see that whole room. Like, once they put the lights on, you could see the whole room. And so she immediately saw Celine and bust out in tears. Aww. And she was so emotional, and then Celine bust out crying, and they just had this great moment that was so well received. And Adele posted this wonderful thank you to Celine. She said she had been performing in Celine Dion's room at the Coliseum for almost 2 years now, and finally Celine came to see her, and she was just over the moon about it. And it was just happy to see two women support each other and love each other. The one thing I will give about Adele support everybody. She supports Beyonce. She supports the female singers, and she's very outspoken. And I just love that about her. I really, really love that about her. So she's great.
I love Adele too, and she's so talented. But can I tell you, mad props to Miss Dion for being able to, that's a diva move, to pull focus and not look like a bitch.
Let me get out of here. But before we go, I have one question. Have you seen Dwyane Wade's new statue?
Oh, dear. Dwyane Wade has seen his statue. I saw him looking at it, and it was like, those moments when they capture it in a picture. You have to get this scene where he's looking at, he's trying to be like, oh, he was more like,
Well, everybody has been talking about it. They've been making jokes, and there's a lot of criticism, but Dwyane Wade says he doesn't care. He says, I don't care. the social media world is about opinions. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone uses y'all opinions. Please talk more about us. Talk more about a statue. Come on down to see it. Take some pictures. Send some memes. We don't care.
Well, wasn't he able to give notes? I mean, like, didn't he get to, like...
Yeah, he did. He gave the notes, and that's what you got. He was right. They got pictures of him looking at it and holding the face and all of that. He did all of that. So
well, maybe that's what he thinks he looks like. I don't know. You know how you have a
it was supposed to be that picture of him. It was like one of those championships, and I guess he was yelling and screaming. But it's something about his face that it's just... If like I need to see a side-to-side picture of that actual picture and what they were trying to depict, because it didn't look like him at all.
Well, I feel like brass does not translate. Like a lot of these brass, statues don't look like the person. Versus if you go to Madame Tussauds and the wax, looks...
Yeah, the wax.
The wax is a better material.
No, I think it's the sculptor that took focus.
I know, who are they getting in the NBA to do these? Who's the sculptor they're using? Because Kobe's is not great either. Shaq's none of them are great, in my opinion.
Nah, I know some really hip sculptures. I think it's the artists. I think it's it's like how you look at somebody and go, that's not him. That is not him. Why would you even? Can't you start over? Like, I don't know. But hey, as long as Dwyane Wade is happy with it, then I'm happy with it. Go on, like he said, go down there and take pictures with it, make fun. So, okay, y'all, we've had enough. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna jump into today's topic with our girl Mo Collins. This is Grown Ass Women Talking.
I'm Mo Collins, and you're listening to Grown Ass Women Talking.
Today's guest is a comedic powerhouse, best known for her unforgettable characters on Mad TV, including Lorraine, Stewart's mom, Doreen Larkin, and so many more that just live rent-free in our heads. You've seen her lighting up the screen on shows like Arrested Development, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Parks and Recreation. She even stirred up some drama on the Fear the Walking Dead because... why not show off some range? Her talents extend beyond live action, lending her voice to hit animated shows like Family Guy, King of the Hill, Invader Zim, and Puppy Dog Pals. I love that. In 2017, she earned her first Emmy nomination for her work on Bill Burr's F is for the Family. When she's not acting, Mo channels her creative energy into visual arts, which you can check out at mocollinsart.com. And if that wasn't enough, Mo's got more exciting projects on the way, including appearances in Night Court and Kevin Hart's animated series, Lil' Kev. Please welcome my girl, the incomparable Mo Collins. Hello, Mo.
Mo!
Listen, I mean, it's nice to hear that. It lets me know I've worked. That's awesome. That's a really nice intro. Thank you.
I've got a fangirl out for just a moment because I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. And
wow.
I know, and I'm probably the one person who continued to watch all the subsequent Walking Dead, and I loved Fear the Walking Dead, and I loved your seasons. So, I mean, listen, props to you, flowers. You deserve that introduction, especially the Walking Dead part.
I appreciate that. That was a cool departure, and I had a ball.
And you nailed it. It was so good.
Yeah, I did nail it.
Let them know, Mo. Let them know.
I did. I brought light to the darkness.
Today's grown-ass topic, we're talking menopause. Ladies, we've all been told to expect it, to fear it, deny it when it shows up, like it's some shameful secret. For too long, menopause has been treated like a dirty word. But why does society keep teaching us to fear our own bodies? Research shows that 90% of postmenopausal women were never taught about menopause in school. Over 60% only started looking for information once the symptoms kicked in. So, to remind some of our younger people, menopause is a natural decline in reproductive hormones. When a woman reaches her 40s or 50s, menopause is signaled by 12 months since the last menstruation. Common symptoms include hot flashes, vaginal dryness. There may also be sleep disturbances, and the combination of these symptoms can cause anxiety or depression. So today we're going to unpack the big M with the big Mo. What to expect, how to prepare, and most importantly, how to stop being afraid to advocate for your health and well-being. Mo, you have spoken openly about your experience with menopause and your challenges with your doctors. Can you share your story with our listeners?
I would be happy to talk about my uterus. And it's no, look, it's like you're right. Like what we're sort of told is hot flashes, and we're going to get bitchy and dry vagina. That's about the extent of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Well, let me just tell you, there's a whole lot more. And when we're talking about menopause and studying it, we need to look at the brain as well. We need to study the brain as well, because I'll tell you what, those two things are connected. So here's what my experience has been. So last period was in spring of 2018, right? Let's cut to the fall of 2018. I got vaginismus. Do you know what that is?
No, what's that?
I'm happy to tell you about it, because I didn't know what it was either, and neither did my OBGYN, of all people. So vaginismus is essentially when your pelvic wall, it's about 1 inch, if you're penetrating about 1 inch in, there's a wall, your pelvic wall, it slams shut and nothing's going in. You're not having sex. You cannot get in. It is impenetrable. It is like the castle is closed and not even the battering ram can come through.
How does that happen?
There's a couple ways this can happen. It can happen to younger women, and is typically, or more often in younger women, it's caused by trauma, whether it's, sexual abuse trauma, things like this. And so they will say that it is psychological. And for a lot of women, it definitely is attached to the brain and its trauma. Now, I didn't, overnight become fearful of my husband's penis. It just slammed shut. And for me, it's about menopause, because everything in there, the vaginal wall and the pelvic wall, they have all lost all of those hormones, right? Mm-hmm. So when you lose those hormones, and yes, they talk about it being dry, but it can go further. It's your pelvic wall. Ladies, start exercising your pelvic wall, which is not kegling, by the way. So you've got to understand that there's all these other elements that can collapse and cause great trauma. And let me just tell you, when you can't have sex, it's trauma. Sure. That becomes trauma. It's something that, my husband and I have had to work through. So that started in 2018. Let's go to this spring. So all my bones, my joints, it's like I'm a 90-year-old woman, right? And literally, like, my pubic bone, I woke up one morning, my pubic bone, I could barely get out of bed. I could barely roll over and get out of bed. So I've been on this journey now, starting going to the doctor. I have since gotten myself on hormone replacement therapy. And I can't say enough good about this. Women have been scared off of hormone replacement therapy because of the cancer scare. Yes, absolutely. I'm telling you right now, I had cancer for fucking 9 years, okay? And I am okay to do this. The community misinformed women, scared them off, and now studies and tests show it is safe. And in fact, it is beneficial. And I'm going to tell you some of these things that are beneficial because they blew my mind. Mm-hmm. You guys, here's something they didn't tell me with hormone replacement. Do you know that it helps with women's dementia down the line?
Really?
So, when women in menopause are like, oh my God, I'm becoming so forgetful and all these things. This is again where I say that our whole reproductive system is very attached to our brains. And so that dementia, like hormone replacement therapy staves off that. It can regulate your cholesterol, because in menopause too, that's another thing with the loss of the estrogen, our cholesterol levels can raise, and mine did. So hormone replacement therapy, because if you all of a sudden you're having all these bone joint aches, it's everybody, they want to jump, and they have over the years, they've jumped right to it's arthritis. It's not
osteoporosis or any of those things.
Yep. It's menopause. It's the loss of estrogen, y'all. It's the loss of estrogen. And so I just started a month ago, and let me just tell you, I had sex for the first time. I had actual penetration for the first time since 2018.
So the wall opened back up?
The wall is opening back up.
Like the Red Sea.
And we're not going back.
Yeah, no. Open that wall up.
Yeah, but so it's literally like the inside, and this is also testimony from my husband. I'm like, what's it like in there now? And he says, it's like when I first met you.
Wow.
Wait, so the hormone therapy just, I mean, over time, opened or relaxed the wall. Is that kind of what happened? Or
what it does is, yes, there's like these cells in there that get really tiny and dried out. Think of it as sort of like then adding water, and they kind of like sponge open back up. Think of it like that, as a picture. And so once again, the wall is lubricated and soft and all the things that it was.
Now, how often does this happen to women?
This happens a lot. This is what I'm finding out. Like, I'm kind of stunned.
But they were misdiagnosing it as being in women's head.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Not being able to have the sex.
Yes. Like when I first went to dress my vaginismus in, I guess it was the later on, a few months after the vaginismus started, and I went to an OBGYN, and she sent me home with a training kit of all these different sized, essentially like dildos, right? Like, retrain your vagina. I'm like, well, first of all, none of those are as big as my husband. So what's
Wow. All right, Alex.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back on a stallion, y'all.
Hell yeah.
But that's what they do, because they're trying to get your vaginal wall to get used to something being up there. But that did nothing. And what was not addressed at the time was that it's vaginismus. It is a wall that slams shut, and it is because of the loss of estrogen.
You mentioned that your OBGYN did not diagnose this. Who diagnosed it? I mean, how did you finally find out what this was?
I kept searching on the internet. I kept
Really?
reading. I kept looking, and I found out there was something called vaginismus. And I looked into it. And when it does happen to women in menopause, they call it secondary vaginismus, meaning it's all those things, the loss of estrogen and such that cause it, not like someone with trauma in their younger years. And there is help for that too. I need to speak to that for a second for women. You can get help. But secondary vaginismus. But no, she didn't tell me the word. I found it on the internet. And the funny, crazy thing is that the more I started talking to other women about it, literally I was coming across women that they too have vaginismus.
You had to advocate for your own self with a doctor. What if you had not done that? What if you did not advocate? You just would have, just decided it's over.
Right.
That's exactly right. But I just was not willing to give it up. I'm only 59. I was a very sexually active person. And so this was devastating to our life. And a month ago, when I went into a new OBGYN that was referred by my primary, who is specifically for menopause issues, I was ready to fight and go, I need to try hormone therapy. My bones hurt. Everything hurts. I've got trouble. I need help. And I didn't have to with this doctor. And his name is Dr. Rabin, and he is in Burbank. And I cannot recommend him enough. I did not have to fight. He explained everything to me. He's the one that told me about how hormone replacement therapy helps with dementia for women, how much it affects our bones and our joints. But over the years, women, we've just sort of went, oh, I guess this is what it is. It doesn't have to be that way.
That's just such a great point, because I think, obviously we're going through this politically right now, but I will say to you, and I joked with Loni about this earlier, I can't wait for menopause, because I've had the most adversarial relationship with my lady parts. And I say that going back to puberty. When I first got my period, I was, 13 or so, and I had the worst cramps. They called it dysmenorrhea. Like now we know the diagnosis, but all these things that were coming up with these diagnoses. Now, when I was a kid, they didn't know what that was. And I'd go to my doctor and they'd be like, it's normal. No, it wasn't normal. I would throw up. I would throw up every day, not be able to go to school during my period.
Not normal.
So I dreaded my period. Then as I got older, we found out that I had endometriosis, so another diagnosis which you didn't know about. And then I was trying to get pregnant with my ex-husband, and I had a lot of miscarriages, and that was, fibroids and so all these things become, things that you get diagnosed for after the fact because women's health is not a priority.
I know. And finally, I do believe that is changing. There's more conversation about menopause. We have Kamala Harris running for president and, Maria Shriver has been doing a lot of stuff. But, it is funny, isn't it? Like one dude couldn't get a boner and what comes along, but,
Magic pills.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the therapy and the type of therapy that you're going through and what's the process with that.
Okay. So I literally this morning, had my first pelvic floor physiotherapy session. And I learned a shit ton again. It's very intimate kind of physical therapy, and comedy definitely helps in that moment. I let her know right away. It's like, just so you know, I'm a comedian, so things are going to be, this is not going to be normal for either one of us. She's like, this hand is going to be inside and this one is on. I'm like, this is the lucky hand, isn't it? Like you got to have fun with it. I mean, but she was amazing. And so there's exercises I can do and most of them are breathing exercises, or a lot so far. But I didn't know this. There's a lot of fascia. Do you guys know what fascia is?
No.
So consider it, and this is all over our body. Fascia is like a webbing that turns hard all over in our joints and such, and that needs to be broken down to keep loose. But we also have, I had 2 frozen shoulders at one time, 10 years ago or something, and couldn't, move my arms over my head. It was all fascia stuck, and it can happen really fast. And also menopause is one of those things that can play into that and actually encrust sort of that fascia. And she's up in me like any lady. And
get in there.
Like everybody wants to be. She's up there and she's like, oh yeah, I'm feeling above. Like I didn't realize that down, in the entire cage, if you will, that there's fascia down there too that's just stuck. So like around your hips.
Is it like a plaque kind of thing? Is it like plaque?
Great way to look at it. Yes, it's like a plaque.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a calcified something.
Yes.
And and so that's a lot of but I wouldn't have thought it would be down there like in our internal organs. But it is, because there's muscle down there, especially when the pelvic wall is a muscle. So I'm doing these breathing exercises to start. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I'm kind of anxious to see.
Are you taking medication?
I take the hormones because one is an oral, one is I rub on my thigh in the morning, and another estrogen thing I insert twice a week up my lady bit.
Your cucina.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any side effects are you getting from the hormones?
I have very, very mild cramps, almost as if I had my period again, which is kind of weird. I'm like, oh, hell no, I don't want to do this again. But it's kind of nothing also.
Okay.
You're doing this therapy. I guess the question is, how long do you think you have to do it?
That is kind of a good question. There's parameters to hormone replacement therapy. You have to start it within 10 years of your last period, or it's kind of the point is moot. And I'm 6 years, so I'm super glad I discovered it now.
Right.
But I would also say to women like in perimenopause, you can start then.
Do it preventatively and don't wait till you have symptoms like you did.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because now I'm trying to correct it. Like I had a DEXA scan for my bones and I have osteopenia, which is not good. Like my bones depleted so much with all of that estrogen loss. So now I'm having to rebuild
Yes.
And it won't entirely rebuild, but I'm trying to correct what has happened. And so I definitely say to women, be looking to do this, right? Like as you're entering, when you're in perimenopause, please be talking to your OBGYN about your hormone levels, get them checked, and see about, just so you're not having this huge, because what happened to me is essentially like a castration of my lady bits, right? Like it just, and it doesn't have to be that way. Now, as far as going forward, I guess I'm just going to keep doing this until I don't really know.
What I was researching is that it kind of like the symptoms will stop, the dryness and things like that will stop, but every woman is different.
Right.
So
I think that's just it. Every woman is different, but it's also some of those things don't come back without.
I got you. Okay, without the therapy, the hormones, yeah.
Yeah, if it goes dry in there, that's then it goes dry. Those hormones are gone. Then your bones are depleting, and your brain is going through, like, as far as like the phase of menopause, if there is one, things that might come out the other side are women go into depression. Those kinds of things, you can perhaps get to the other side of those things. But regarding like our cage down there, once it's dry, it's dry.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah. And your bone loss, like, things like your bone loss and damage to your joints. I'm trying to correct that now, but again, try and stave that crap off.
Yeah. But see, this is why women need to have access to reproductive health care.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, and for so many of our politicians, this is the thing that we have been talking about, especially during this election, how important it is, because clearly this is the first time that Erica and I have even heard about, what is it?
Vaginismus. It sounds like a holiday, doesn't it? It's like Merry Vaginismus.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a fun holiday.
Yeah. You only come once a year.
Yeah, there you go.
Literally.
Yeah. It's really sad to me that women have suffered for forever with this stuff, and it didn't need to be this way. We need more women's clinics.
Yes.
That specialize in this stuff. Women need to be able to just go, and it needs to be covered by insurance.
Absolutely.
It's our health. It's our well-being. It's not just some choice. Like, I want my vagina to still work. I still want to have sex with my husband. You'd think that the men would be like, I need that, but we should probably look into this. Men would probably prefer it, wouldn't they?
But here's the point. I mean, and this is the sad thing. Women's health is not a priority in this country, which is why we're dealing with this on the ballot right now. And women our age are put out to pasture. So like, once go be dry, we don't care. But and that has to change as well.
Do you know how many marriages probably could have been helped
because of this? Absolutely. Yeah. But once you can't have a baby, you become obsolete. And that's a thing that has to change. And again, I go back to my entire life of struggling with my lady parts. Like, I think women and young women coming into puberty, we should be dealing with this at that point. This all could have been avoided if we knew about shepherding women's health from puberty on to their reproductive ages and to menopause. All of this is connected.
Can we talk about your support system? And who supported you? And it sounds like, the wonderful Alex, your husband, was a wonderful supporter, but any other family, friends supported you? And how important is that for women out here that's suffering like this?
It's really important. And yes, my number one advocate, I am the luckiest woman in the world because Alex Scooby is my husband, because he went through it too, right? Like, he went through it too. This happened to him as well. And, for both of us, it was a struggle. I was feeling bad because he couldn't get in, and I'm feeling like a failure, and he's feeling like a failure. And oh my God, how can we still be intimate? Which, we found a way with that. But it was critical that he was supportive. And aside from him, I would say that there have been a couple women that, well, my sisters, for one, particularly my older sister, Katie, because we can kind of commiserate and compare, especially because we hold the same DNA. It's been great talking with her, to just kind of share these things and talk about these intimate things. I had my friend Sheila, hair department on Fear the Walking Dead, was an amazing person to talk to because she was going through some things too. And it's just, and yeah, the more you talk about it, the more you're going to find out that there's people that are going through the same stuff. I've been blown away by how many women are going through things. And there's a group of women, and Loni, this group, through Kathy Griffin. I'm sitting with that group one time, all these lovely ladies, and they're like, oh yeah, we do the hormone patch. And I'm like, what? Knowing Kathy had her cancer history. And it's because of that group that I went, hold on a minute. Wait, I could do this too? So I started researching for myself, and sure enough, women are doing this. Women are getting the help that they needed. You just need to know it's out there, and you need to ask about it. Ask your doctor, because I know my sister up in Minnesota has had trouble. She would like to try it. She would like to be on hormone therapy, but she's having trouble. Sure. Nobody, and I'm like, Katie, try using my example now to just say, my sister's doing it. I would like to try it. Like, let her try it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, she's doing all kinds of this physical therapy and stuff for joint ache and all that.
Like, what should be the conversation? Like, a woman walks into her doctor and she could say, what is the thing she should say?
I think that you have to just say, I believe it is this. Here are some things I've read about it. I would like to try this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this is what I would like to try. It's my body.
To your point, Mo, before people wouldn't talk about the M word, right? And right. You finding a community of women who you feel comfortable, and you're telling people about your situation, and that's going to empower women to talk to their doctors. Same thing with fertility or infertility a while ago. Women didn't want to talk about that. They were embarrassed to talk about it. But look what a big community that's become. So conversation, women being open and helping each other is like the goal of the show, and it's the goal for the future.
But also, you might not find a doctor. You might have to switch your doctor.
Absolutely,
yeah, you have to switch.
Don't just settle.
And being an advocate for yourself, like you were. I mean, you went on the internet and you're like, "This is not right. I'm not going to take this answer. Like, I know there's something wrong here," and you did it for yourself, which is again an inspiration for other women to go, you know what? I'm going to go on the internet because I'm having the same situation.
I know. Yeah. I wrote a Substack on vaginismus like a year ago, and you guys, I could not get over the response and how much women have been suffering.
Mm-hmm. No, this has been our number one topic. When we asked women, what do you want to hear from us? Menopause was the number one topic that people wanted to hear about. I mean, it was unbelievable. Lastly, while you were going through this, what helped you mentally?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say it was smooth. It was a roller coaster. Especially because in menopause, you are dealing with the brain that is prone to depression, prone to anxiety, and I didn't miss all that. That all, came through too. And so my husband and I laugh a lot, as you can well imagine. Yeah. If we weren't joking about this, I think I would have just been crushed. And if I didn't have humor too, to even just in my own way, whether it's through stand-up or writing, find other people that are feeling and suffering these things too. So humor has been this way of talking about it so that people will talk to me too. And then they go, I have it. And I go, oh, good. I'm not alone.
Yes.
Like the more I've found out that I am not alone in this, and not to settle and to just sort of roll over and go, my life, this is what it is now. It doesn't have to be. Between the OBGYN, Dr. Rabin, a month ago, the physical therapist I had today, I got to tell you guys, I have hope. Plus, like I say, hubby got in for the first time in years. And so
I love it.
Hope is a really big thing. And the hope of getting better is really important when you're suffering. It's really important. Hope. So find the people, find the articles that give you hope. Listen to the doctors on Instagram, wherever it is. Find the hope, latch on, learn about it. Don't settle and just say, yeah, it's probably arthritis. It's probably this. I'm just depressed. There's answers. Keep looking. Get the help you need. There's hope.
Wow. This was such a great conversation that was so needed. Mo, seriously, thank you so much. You are going to help so many women by being so transparent, and we just love you for it. So thank you so much.
And listen, anybody listening that does want to reach out to me on Instagram or whatever and talk about it, like if you're experiencing, I'm a talker. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
And can you keep us posted on how your treatment goes? I know you're early in, but
I will. I'm really anxious, especially with this physical therapy started and being new on the hormone therapy. I mean, I may be, busting my nut more than I ever thought.
I love it. We love that. And for our listeners, be sure to check out Mo's artwork at mocollinsart.com. We come back, we'll get the takeaway with Loni. This is Grown Ass Women Talking.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Loni's takeaway. Loni, what did we learn today? And I think we learned a lot.
We learned a lot about menopause. I mean, and this is the thing, Erica, our viewers wanted this subject, so we gave it to them, and Mo Collins was the person. The best thing that I got out of it was to make sure you advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Just because a person got a degree, they don't know you. You are unique, you are different, and you have to advocate for yourself. Also, we are in more modern times, so you have the internet. Search the internet. You can't believe everything that's on the internet, but there is a lot of useful information.
Absolutely.
So I got that from her, and she was just awesome. She's always been that way, but I'm so happy to see that she's healing and she's getting better.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, listen, the message that I took away from that is don't give up, because there's so many women who we feel like we're being put out to pasture in that situation, right? She could have just gone off like, okay, I'm going to be dry the rest of my life. Her husband was lovely to have her back on this, which a lot of guys don't. A lot of men abandon their women during infertility. That's a whole nother story. Or, during menopause. So the fact that she had a wonderful partner and that she advocated for herself, like you said, and that I think the preventative aspect of this is something to really look at. The fact that she's saying, I had to come back and fix everything that I didn't do before is a message to younger women. Start earlier. Go to your OBGYN. Do your research first. This is something you can prevent if you pay attention to your reproductive health earlier
definitely
on.
This is definitely an episode that you all need to go back and listen to. This is definitely an episode that you need to tell your friends and family to listen to if you have girlfriends and things like that. So I just think it was a great episode. As we go, I just want you to know that I'm expecting my friendship bracelet in the mail. Okay,
it's on its way.
Okay.
I mean, there might be like a little fee when you have to sign for it. There might be like
a fee. You know what? Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Grown Ass Women Talking. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram or YouTube at GAWT Pod. Come see me perform live stand-up in Phoenix, November the 10th. I'll also be in Pasadena for the holiday shows at the Ice House, December the 5th, every Thursday, and Miami Improv, December 15th. Tickets are on sale. Get those tickets. Thanks again to Mo Collins for joining us. Check her art out at mocollinsart.com or her art Insta page at mocollinsart.
Bye. Love to everyone. Grown Ass Women Talking is a collaboration between True Love Productions, Dunnigan Lane Productions, and Heart Media Productions. Our executive producers are Lonnie Love, Erica Montolfo, and Siege Pokinghorn.
This episode was produced by Siege Pokinghorn and edited by Nicholas Crawford. Our music is by Cole Curtis. Special thanks to Elizabeth Munch,